Okay. So today we'll talk about non-functional requirements. So what are non-functional requirements?
Non-functional requirements.
So these are about the quality of
business
service.
requirements and user requirements.
So non-functional requirements are the quality of service, or it talks about the quality of the functional requirement. How good, see, functional requirement is completed, okay, but how well is it performing, right? So the non-functional requirement can be classified as product-based requirements, organizational-based requirement, or external requirements. So product requirement, which is specific to the product that we develop. Then org requirements is, okay, not product, but the supporting environment, right? Developer, the infrastructure, the platform where uploading, things like that. And finally, external is something which is probably not under control, something outside the company. Okay. So product requirement, non-functional could be, first one you see is called usability requirement. Okay, usability, where is going to be used, who is going to use. So generally the UI designers, they design the UI, right? The color, the look and feel, the shape, size, okay, all those things are taken care by the UI designers. So you need to understand who are your users, okay? Based on that, you will create this user requirement, okay? Or usability, not user requirement, usability requirement. So usability requirement talks about how easy it is to use. Okay. Do you know? Your customers call upon you to find how to create account, things which are there on the site, and they are not able to probably figure that out. Okay, or they are not able to search for it. Okay, so so you know that the usability is not good. Okay, usability requirement is about how easy it is to use your software. Okay, more thick is your training document. That means less cumbersome it is.
Okay.
Right. So you want it to be easy to be used, isn't it? So that's what we call as usability requirement. Then we talk about efficiency. Okay, efficiency means how efficient it is to use your product or install your product. So efficiency, generally we speak in terms of space and performance. So the less space it takes, more efficient it is in terms of space, right? So we want our application to take less space, because see, most of the things will be happening through online these days, right? And if you have a heavier file, it will take that much time for it to download. Okay, it will make things slow, right? So important is to have as small, okay, product as possible. Okay, then we talk about performance, the speed. Okay, when you click on next, how soon you are getting the next option, right? Yes. That's what we talk about, performance requirement. So you have usability requirement, efficiency requirement. Efficiency is about performance and space. Then you have reliability requirement. Reliability is how so when you say your product is reliable, that means it does not fail often. Thing which fails often, we say that is less reliable, right? So reliability should be like your system should be up and running. Okay, when you talk about cloud computing, they say that system should be up and running 99.99%. That's called reliability. Okay, your system is not down, it is always available for you to use. Okay, then we have portability requirement. Okay, portability, okay, it's about the product. Okay, how easy it is to move from one computer to another, right? One platform to another. Okay, so when you install an app, right, it says that it should be used only with Chrome, for example, let's say. So that is not portability. Portability
Yeah.
means you can work with
Apps are
portability
for
platform.
Android and few apps are for iOS, just like that.
Exactly. Okay. So that's not portable. Portability
Yeah.
means same code, same product can be used on multiple platforms.
Okay.
Okay. That's portability. Okay. So these are the product specific features or non-functional requirements. Okay. Usability, efficiency, reliability, portability. Then if you talk about the organizational perspective, okay, you have delivery requirements. Okay. So delivery requirements means how soon can you deliver, right? Not soon, shouldn't say so. When you promise a certain date, okay, how you should be able to deliver on that certain date. Okay, even before is not supposed to be good, right? If you say 15 days time, so it should be done in 15 days only. Okay, it should have all the features that you promised to deliver in 15 days. Okay, so quality of deliverable, timeliness of deliverable, okay, how good is your product, how timely have you delivered it, cost, right? The whatever cost you promise, same cost, you come back say that things have changed and we need to charge you more. Those things, okay, should not be there, right? So if if the cost, quality, time, okay, if they are should be as close to what you promised.
Yes.
Okay, that's called delivery. Okay, delivery requirements. If you delay, if you charge for more than quoting less before, right? If quality is not good, right? So these are failure in terms of requirements. So this is nothing to do with the product as such. Like a product, you are delivering good product, but you're asking for more money, right? So product, there is nothing, nothing wrong with the product, but it is your, your delivery requirement is getting affected. Okay. Then you have implementation requirement. So when you take that application, when you need to install it, what are the requirements? Okay, for implementation, you should have so other 10 softwares, let's say, right? So it is not so good, right? So the conditions or the requirements that you have for installation, all of those fall under implementation requirement. Then you have standard requirements. Okay, see, most of this industry, they have some standards, right? You say that our software is ISO 9001 certified, something like that. So that is called standard. They'll say that if you meet so and so standard, so and so regulation, only then we will buy your product, right? So that's an example of standard. So okay, every industry they have a specific standard, and here we're talking about those standards for specific industry.
Okay.
Right. So organizational requirements are your delivery, implementation, and standard. Yeah, industry standard, domain standard, government regulation, things like that. Okay. Now something which is not in your scope. Okay. Something which you do not have control, external requirements. Interoperability requirement. Okay, interoperability means that it should be able to work on different system. Okay, so you have your system, and your system should talk to some other system. Okay. So see, not only you have to take care of it, but other system also should take care of it, isn't it? That should also be open to accept data. So generally, in today's world, right, no system is isolated. Data flows from one system to another. So how easy it is to operate one system with another, how easy it is to get the data from other system to your system or give out the data to other system. So we call it interoperability, which is based on other product, other domain. Okay, then ethical requirements. Okay, whatever you are doing. Okay, one thing is legal requirement, other thing is ethical. Sometimes it may not be legal. Sorry, it may not be illegal. Okay, legally you can do that, but ethically it is not good, right? For example, if I sign an agreement with you saying that your data will be available in public domain. Now, which since you have signed, it is legal, right? I can do that, but ethically it may not be good, right? So here we're talking about ethical requirement. Then from legal requirement or government requirement, legislative means government requirement. It could be again two types. One is your privacy requirement, okay? Other thing is safety requirement. Privacy is protecting your data, right? I should be able to protect your data, okay? So when you give me your data, you trust me that I will protect your data, isn't it? So that is protecting the data. And safety is not getting hurt in either ways, right? Physically, mentally, emotionally, you should not get hurt. So so the feature that I deliver, okay, it should not hurt you, okay, in any way. So that's called safety requirement. So when you're delivering the software, any solution, you have to keep all these things in mind. Apart from the features that come, the stakeholders will tell you, I want feature A, B, C, D, those are functional requirement, but non-functional requirement also you have to keep in mind, make sure that your product is delivering on that. Okay. So now you see, these are the unit. How do you measure? How do you measure that the performance of your non-functional requirement? Okay. How do you measure the performance of non-functional requirement? Okay. So speed. So when it was speed, okay, it is efficiency that we spoke about, isn't it? So in efficiency, speed, okay, we are talking about process transaction per second. How much transaction you are able to process compared from last year or from last week, or in this minute, okay, how much transactions you are able to process. More transactions you are able to process, we say better is your software, or faster is your software, isn't it?
Yeah, in less than, it's faster.
Right? So that's the number of transactions that you're processing per second. Then user per event response time, number of user per event. Okay, more user you're able to accept, better is your product, right? Yes. System should not hang. If you, let's say it works well with 5 users, but the moment it becomes 100, it starts collapsing. That's not good, isn't it?
Yeah, when we use like long hours, sometimes it will hang.
Correct.
So even that time also it will work perfectly. The speed.
Correct. Yeah. And that should not happen, right? It should be able to handle the so let's say if you have 100 users, let's say you're expecting 100 users to log in, okay, it should at least work for 200 250 users without any problem. So we say that the speed is good, or user per event response time, okay, the response time is better, right? You click search and then the result is coming after 5 seconds, probably not good. Screen refresh time. So how fast the screen is refreshed. So if I say next, right, the next screen should come, right? Whenever you perform, we are done with the current screen, right? You say next, you say submit, so all these things, when you click, how soon you get the next screen, right? So that's what we call it as, screen refresh time. Then size we're measuring in terms of byte. Okay, so remember the size of the size is also an efficiency requirement, right? So yeah, so when you say kilobyte, it could be kilobyte, megabyte, gigabyte, right? How GB. Generally, kilobyte is the minimum unit. Okay. Yeah. And then yeah. Okay. Then you have number of RAMs that your system has. Ease of use is training time. Shorter the training time, that means better is the product. You are able to use the product better, right? Longer training time means your product is difficult to use, correct? Then you have number of help frames. Okay, so any application when you go, you will see help on the top, right? How many help frames are there? Less number of help frames, that means it is less thing you need to know to operate the system, right? More help frame you have, that means okay. So it doesn't mean that you don't add help frame saying it is easy to use. Then your user will get stuck, right? That's also not something that we want. So okay, so that is the help frames. Then reliability, we talk about mean time to failure, MTTF we call it. Okay, mean time to failure. On average, okay, after how many minutes or hours the system failed. Okay, mean time to failure. So it is working and suddenly it failed. So on average, mean means average. What is the average time, okay, after which the system fails? Okay, probability of unavailability. Okay, so when you log into the system, okay, the system may be available, may not be available. Probability means, if you are logging in 100 times, okay, how many times your system is not responding, is not available. Okay, it should be as low value as possible. Then you have rate of failure occurrence. Okay, how many times the failure occurs? Okay, it should be less, isn't it? And availability. Availability is opposite of your, mean time to failure. So there you're talking about time for failure. Here you're talking about how long your application is up and running. Okay, maybe probability of unavailability. Here it is availability. Okay. Yes. So these are the units generally we use in terms of measuring the quality of service or non-functional requirement. Okay. Then you have robustness. Okay, robustness and reliability. Okay, so reliability assumes that system will fail, right? So if it fails, and so how soon can you get back? How minimum can you have a system failure? Robustness means assuming that system is not failing. So reliability and robustness are almost similar, right? The difference is that in robustness, we are assuming that system will not fail. System should not fail. So here, time to restart after the failure. So, okay, system failed. How soon can you get it back online? Right? Percentage of events causing failure. So there are, generally there will be a lot of events that occur. Let's say 100 events occur, but out of 100 events, how many events are actually causing failure? Right? And probability of data corruption on failure. So if failure happened, what is the probability of data getting corrupted? Right? Then you have portability, right? Percentage of target dependent statements or systems, right? Okay, how many target systems you have on which, how many of them your system will be implemented? Number of target systems, right? So percentage and number. So it's mostly about different types. Okay, now see, it could be, as you said, right? It could be Android, iOS. It could be Windows, Linux. Okay, even in Windows, you have different versions, isn't it? Windows 10, Windows 7, right? Now we don't use Windows. We talk about Windows 11. So all these applications, right, on all these different platforms, even if you change one configuration spec, is it working? Okay, so that's what we target. That's what we look at when we talk about portability. Okay, so one assignment I want to give you here is in the previous. Okay, so question I was asking is, do you use Android app or iOS app? Your phone?
Android.
Right, great. So my application is on Android. Okay. Okay. So what I was saying is, go back, the slide here. For each of these, okay, try to try to come up with your own unit.
Okay.
Okay, so for each of these, okay, you come up with something like this. So you'll have property. In property, you'll talk about, reliability, robustness. Apart from that, other things that is there, and then in measure, you write other, what metric you. And feel free to do a Google search and try to get this done as much as possible.
Okay.
If you don't get it, we'll discuss in the class.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So, okay. So with that, we finish non-functional requirements as well. So right now we are at second phase. Okay. Third phase is when we will do hands-on. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So why prioritization? See, you generally, we in our life, we get a lot of things to do, right? But
Yes.
it is not possible to do everything in the given time. So what we do, we
segregate the
we prioritize, right?
Yeah.
We prioritize. We try to figure which is important, and then based on that, we take decision, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
so same thing. What are different techniques of prioritization is what we are going to, see here.
Okay.
Okay. So these are different techniques. Okay. Let's go one by one. First technique is called ranking. So when you have, let's say 30 or 50 or 20 or 100 requirements to look at, so it says that every requirement has to be ranked from 1 to 100 or 1 to 50 or 1 to 20, because you know which has to be developed first. Okay, if you have 20 requirements and the one that has rank 1 is the first requirement that you will develop first, isn't it? So it becomes number 1 or first requirement, number 1 to be developed. So ranking is important, okay, because that tells you, which one to be developed when. So if you can take only 5, you will take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to develop, isn't it? So I told you, right? Time versus development. So let's say I want to launch my product next month. Okay, how many requirements can you develop? Say, okay, to launch next month, we can only give you 3 requirements. So which 3 would be out of those 20, right? So first 3 we will pick. If you have ranked them, then it is easy to pick top 3. But the problem here is that it's easy to say, but it's so difficult to rank it, especially when you have many people, right? Okay, let's say if we both are, as stakeholders, what I might say is rank 5. Maybe for one, we both may agree that, okay, this is number 1 requirement. But what you might feel is number 2, I might say that is number 20th, not important. What I might say too, you'll say, no, that is for you, that is 10th important, not second. Always there will be a problem, right? So it is not that easy to come up with ranking. So second method is talk about grouping. It says, okay, instead of ranking all the 1 to 20, it is difficult. So instead of ranking as individual, let's rank them in a group. We call them group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then we can agree that, okay, these 3 should go in group 1, these 3 should go in group 2, these 3 should go in group 3. Okay, so this is called group, prioritization based on grouping. So you say, okay, 3 requirements went into group 1. That means that group 1, those 3 requirements are important. So you're not ranking one. For you, all the 3 is important, right? Now when I say you, it is for the entire stakeholders. For all the stakeholders, those 3 are important, and it went into this. But again, same problem can occur. What might be group 1 for you may not be, for group 1 for me, right? I might say, no, this should go to group 2. You'll say, no, this goes to group 1, right?
Yes.
So that could be again be the problem. But we have basically 2 types of grouping, where one, you rank individually, second, you rank in terms of group. So other techniques that we're going to talk about is an improvement of these 2 techniques only. Okay, so bubble sort is an improvement of ranking. Okay, So what it says is, okay, do not look at all the 20 requirements at one go, right? And when we look at, we have to solve 20 requirements, that's when the confusion will arise. Which will be first, which will be second, right? So when you have 20 requirements, don't look at all the 20, okay, at one go. It says look at 2 at a time. Okay, look at 2 requirements at a time. So you take requirement A and B and you compare and see between A and B which is number 1 or which is higher than other. Not number 1, but which is higher than other. If you take A and B and you feel that A is a higher priority, then you hold with A and you keep B aside. Now you compare A and C. Maybe between A and C, C might be higher. You feel C is higher. Then you drop A and hold C. Then C and D. Okay, then next with E, then with F. Finally, end of the day, when you compare all the 20 requirements, you will come up with the number 1 requirement. Okay, and that you put as number 1. Then repeat same thing with other requirements you take. So here, this is easier because when you talk about 20, okay, at one go, there will be some confusion, right? People might say third, some will say 7, some will say 10. Instead, what we're doing is we are taking 2 at a time. Okay, when you take 2 at a time, the chance of people having conflict will be less. Okay, but doesn't mean it is 0, right? Maybe we might get stuck at say G and H, right? Half of them say G is important, half of them say H is important. But definitely this is a good technique. Okay, so it says that don't try to solve entire problem, solve step by step. That's what it means, right? Stops solve step, look at only 2 requirements at a time.
Okay.
Okay, so that's called a bubble sort technique for prioritization. Now this is Moscow rule. Okay, the Moscow rule is an improvement over the grouping technique. Okay, so in grouping, we say that okay, create a group. But what Moscow rule says is, yes, create a group, but have some definition around the group. Okay, so when you put a definition around the group, okay, the definition will clear the doubts from people's mind, and then it becomes easier for people to understand why you are creating different groups. So what we are saying here is that group 1, you call it must have. Must have means if you do not give that requirement, customer will not accept your solution. Okay? Yes. Only the requirement which is must should go there. So you pick a requirement, you see, if I don't, the customer will accept. Yes, customer will accept it. So it is not must have. Okay, and here you are only putting the requirement which customer will not accept if it is not there. Okay, so that becomes must have. Then here is the definition. So you are giving definition to each of the group. Now if the definition is there, then doubt will be removed. See, when we have to work on something, okay, let's say we have to rank a singer. Let's say we are doing a singing competition, judge, and so maybe I might say that singer is, yeah. So I was saying that when you put a definition, then there is less chance of having conflict, isn't it? So it says yes, form a group, but also put the meaning, the definition around it. So when you put a definition around it, then there are less chances for people to have conflict, and okay. So this is an improvement over grouping technique. The last one is $100 method. It says that when none of the thing works, okay, ranking does not work, the bubble sort doesn't work, your Moscow rule doesn't work, then you come to this $100 method. $100 method, every stakeholder is given $100, okay, or 100 points, you can say. They're given 100 points, and they say, okay, you have 20 requirements, you have got $100. Now you start putting your bet on each of these, right? And it is purely based on what they think, right? So if for me, if requirement one is, let's say, 50% important than rest, I'll put $50 on requirement one only. Okay. So it is the one that has highest priority will have highest value, and the lowest will have lowest. And every stakeholder will start giving it. So when they start giving it, right? So, then once everybody is done, then you start adding up all the dollar that each of the requirements got. Okay. And then, whichever requirement got maximum dollar, that becomes number one, then number two, number three, so on. Okay. Now this is good only when, okay, I mean, this is only for tiebreaker. Okay. This should be avoided. Basically, your bubble sort or Moscow should be good enough, right? But if nothing works, okay, then you can go as a last resort to this one. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. The next topic is called analytic hierarchy process. Okay. So it talks about the process that we follow so that, okay, we are able to achieve our objective. Okay. So it says that most of the time, okay, when the problem comes to us, we start thinking about the solution right away. Okay. But that's not the right thing to do. Okay. Problem could be, so until unless you know the problem. Okay, see, business analyst is all about figuring out the problem. If you know the problem correctly or exactly, then you can have a solution, right? But if you don't get the problem correctly, you will spend money, but still the solution will not happen. So it says that if there's a problem with sales system, this example talks about, let's say, if the problem is with the sales system, right? A sales is not happening, right? So before you start taking any decision, you should look at why sales is not happening, correct? The sales depends upon three aspects. One, selling the product. Okay, you need to sell product more. More you sell, more revenue you will get. Okay. Second aspect is managing the inventory. You are getting, let's say you're doing marketing, okay, you're doing promotion, you're doing ads, everything, customers coming to your store, but they are not finding the product that they want. So in this case, selling product is not a problem. Problem is the inventory. You do not have the right product, right inventory for the customers to buy. Probably your selling product is doing great. You are doing promotion, customers are coming. Okay, they're doing great there, but they're not finding the product that they are looking for. So inventory management is the key. Okay. Third thing could be your finance itself. You are not able to, get the right, let's say, something that needs to be charged more, you're charging less. Okay, so what happens is, let's say you're selling, so let's say you're selling only, you're selling the product which is not sold anywhere else, right? So in that case, you can charge more for that product, right? So because people will come and buy from you anyway, so you can charge little more, okay, but you are charging less. So you're losing money there, right? Something people would have bought even for $100, you are selling only $50, so you're losing $50 per sales.
Yes.
Something which you should be charging less, okay, because it's available everywhere and they're charging less, okay, but you're charging more. So people will not buy from you, they'll buy from somewhere else. You're losing the sales here. So here probably you have the right inventory, people are coming also to buy, but the price, the finance is not, is like user friendly. In both, you're losing money, right? Where you could have got more, you are getting less. Where you should be charging less, because of your high price, people are not coming to your store, or they are coming, but they are not buying. So when sales is not happening, it could be any one of these.
Yes.
right? So general tendency, if sale is not happening, start promoting. Okay. Now, when you keep promoting, you're losing money for promotion, but people are coming. Okay, it's giving the result, but they're not buying because of reason 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. Without knowing the problem, without getting to know about the problem, right? You should not start solving the problem, right? So in this case, doing more promotion may not help you.
Yes.
So again, you look at, so okay, so problem is inventory. So problem is inventory, then what kind of problem is it in inventory, right? Is the product not getting delivered at the store? The decisions in the head office is correct, but product is not, getting delivered at the right product at the right time. Or the product is getting delivered, but it's not kept on the shelves. People doesn't know there's a product. Or there's a problem with the head office, they're not able to. So again, managing inventory also, there could be multiple problems. So what this says is, AHP, that you need to break down the problem into smaller component, and
Yes.
then you start solving it. Okay.
One by one.
Yes. So this is another way of finding the root cause of the problem. Main problem is sales, but why sales? I mean, what thing in sales is creating problem? Okay. So it is these factors which are creating problem in sales. Right. So you should always focus on
Problems.
yes. Okay. Great. So this is about AHP. Okay. The next step, okay, is called 5 whys. Okay. These are like, so what it says is general tendency is that when we ask what is the problem, people will talk about things which they see, but not the real problem. Okay. And when they don't talk about real problem, you don't solve the problem. So you're solving, see, the reason you go to doctor will ask you 100 questions, right? You say fever, you got fever. But then doctor will ask you from when are you getting fever? What is the temperature? What time of the day you get? Do you get this also with fever? Why is doctor asking so many questions? Doctor asking so many questions because doctor wants to figure out why exactly you're getting fever. What would be the problem, right? Fever is because of thousands of things can create fever. So doctor, he or she is trying to reach out to a point so that, oh no, okay, this is, by sometimes doctor says, okay, it's fine, nothing to worry about, go home. They'll say, no, you have to get more tests done. Because, okay, they feel that something more serious is there because of which fever is coming. So that's the difference between doctor versus your chemist. Chemist will say, oh, this is the type of fever. So fever will go away. But the real problem is not going away, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you take
because they don't know root cause.
Yes. And maybe the tablet will have an effect for 3 hours, 4 hours. And after that, again, the headache will come back or the fever will come back.
Yeah.
Right. So if you do not find the root cause of the problem, and if you start solving the problem, you're only solving the symptoms, not the problem.
Yes.
Okay. Solving problem is important. So here is an example here. We'll talk about the problem in the right-hand side. Okay. But then we'll come back to the left-hand side. So right-hand side, it says problem statement, the vehicle will not start. Your car is not starting. Car is not starting. Why is car not starting? Battery is dead. Oh, battery is dead. Let me get a new battery. You get a new battery, again, after a few days, battery will be dead. So you should not stop there. You should ask why battery is dead. Battery is dead because alternator is not functioning. Why alternator is not functioning? The belt has broken. Why did it break? Because the belt was beyond its service life. Why was it not repaired on time or replaced on time? Okay, the vehicle was not maintained properly. Okay, so battery is dead is the causing the car not to start, but the real reason is that you are not maintaining, you are not giving to the service center. Okay, because of which there's a problem, right? So what 5 why says is that you ask 5 times why. Okay, you get an answer, ask why this happened. Again, you ask. So this is based on experience, okay? That it can be 4 or 6 also. Generally, why we say 5 whys is that most of the time, by asking 5 times whys, you actually reach the root cause. Sometimes you can reach it in 3 steps, 3 whys, 4 whys, or sometimes it might take 6 or 7 or 8. But
Based on the problem.
mostly it is, yes, based on the problem, but mostly what people have figured out that 5 times is what you should ask mostly, okay, to reach the root cause. So you are talking about the root cause, which if you perform, the problem will not occur. So now you have something on the left side, okay? That's a software problem. Just read through it.
A new release disabled a feature for customers. Why? Because a particular server failed. Why did the server?
So why did release disable the feature? Okay, so the feature was working fine, but after perform the release, it stopped working. So you figured out, why this feature is not working. Then you see that it's disabled. Why was it disabled? Because so yeah, that's the point number 2. Why was it disabled? Yes.
Why did the because an obscure subsystem was used in the wrong way.
Correct. So why was it used in the wrong way?
The engineer who used it didn't know how to use it properly.
Correct. So problem has come to the engineer. But why didn't he use it correctly?
Because he was never trained.
He was never trained. Yes. Why was he not trained?
Because his manager doesn't believe in training new engineers because he and his team are too busy.
Exactly. So the problem here is the manager. Manager doesn't believe in training. Okay.
Yes.
So manager should be, should be spoken to, right? And we should tell the manager that why it is important, and they should, okay, focus on training, because problem like this would never occur if you perform training.
Yes.
Okay. So this is called 5 whys. Now we are going back to
Example.
Requirements. Okay, so you'll have to write the requirements. Okay, so see here, it says, bad example, okay, bad way of writing requirement is product SKUs entered by the customer will be validated against the SKU master list if possible, and the results will be presented in the tabular format to the user. A BA wrote, okay, a requirement like this. Okay. So can you read and tell me what does that mean?
Product SKUs entered by the customer will be validated against the SKU master list. Possible, and the result will be presented in the tabular format to the user. Like customer will be validated against the SKU master list. If possible, result will be presented format to the user. Like BA wants to mention, like describe user needs a tabular format to represent results. Product SKUs entered by the customer will be validated against the SKU master list if possible, and then result will be presented in the tabular format to the user. The product SKUs which are entered by the customer, those are validated in the SKU master list if possible. So whenever they enter the data, like after validation, the result will be presented in the tabular format to the user. That's what I get from this description.
Right. Okay. So the problem here is, that the requirement is not written well, right? And there are multiple problems. See, product SKUs entered by the customer. Where do you enter the SKU customer? Okay. Validated against SKU master list. What is there in the master list? Right? If possible, right? So I told you in requirements, if I tell you, if possible, let's have a class tomorrow. If I say if possible, then you say, okay, no, it's not possible. Right?
Yes.
So we should do it. Okay, that's what it means. If it is important, we should do it. If it is not important, don't do it. Why if possible, if this or that? Okay, if it is important to complete the topic, we should meet. If it is not important, then why should we meet? Right? So there's nothing called if possible. What it means is if it is found, then do what? If it is not found, then do what? Right? And okay, so I have the answer. Let's read. Okay. First of all, the language. Okay, we should not use will. Okay, will is not preferred way. We should say shall. Okay, that's the English way of saying that. Will becomes too much of strong worded. So okay, let's not make it will. We'll say shall. Okay. Apart from that, will be validated. Okay, if I tell you your evaluation will be validated, you'll ask me who will validate, how do I submit? Correct. Okay, it will nearly was saying it will be validated doesn't mean anything, right? Who will validate, when it will be validated, how it will be validated, isn't it? So
Yes.
So validate against, like how will it validate? Okay, so when you say that it will be validated, the software developer will ask how do we validate it? Okay, what information should we check? So validated by whom or what and what, if possible, right? So wrong way. Okay, you should not say if possible. Results. What do you mean by result? What kind of result are you talking about? Results will be presented, but what is the result? Is it in the number format? Is it in the graph format? Is it in text format? Okay, is it just one liner or one word or one paragraph? What is that result? Right? Tabular format. Okay, we are imposing solutions. So I told you yesterday that implementation requirements should not be captured. Okay, only if it is extremely important, extremely, then only you will talk about it. Otherwise, you will not talk about it. Always, all the requirements should have an ID, no unique ID. You should always have an ID. Okay, and try to use customer instead of user. Okay.
Okay.
So this is the same requirement written in a different way. FR1, okay, is the unique ID. So every requirement will have an ID. So FR1 is a unique ID. Okay.
Okay.
Now you read all the content, and
okay.
tell me if you are finding it better.
Okay.
Improved version.
A possible improved version of the same requirement. Okay. FR1 is the unique number of the requirement, right? Okay. FR1, the ABC system shall validate product SQS entered by the user against the SQA master list. The system shall validate. Okay. The SQS entered in the system will be validated by the ABC system against the master list. And then if the SQA entered can be located in the SQA master list, the ABC system shall communicate to the user that product was found and prompt the user to add the product to the shopping basket. So after entering the SQA into the master list, like if it is founded or located in the master list, the system need to like communicate the user or the customer that the product was found and prompt the user to add the product to the shopping basket. It need to notify the customer. And then If SKU entered cannot be located in the SKU master list, the ABC system shall communicate to the customer that product was not found. After entering the SKU into the master list also, if we are not finding that particular thing in the master list, the system should communicate or notify the customer that product was not found in the system, like our list.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't it better than
Yeah,
much
it's
better,
definitely
right?
better than the previous one.
Right?
Like,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me, any questions on this? So going forward, you have to write requirements like this.
Okay.
The document which I have shared, right? Not now, maybe after a few classes, we will focus on writing this. So you have to.
Before writing this requirement, like what we will receive.
Yeah,
like,
we'll do it. We'll do it. We'll do it. We'll do it. Okay.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm not asking to write today itself.
No, no, I'm just asking like.
Yeah, we'll go there. We'll go there. We'll go there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Hold on. We'll go step by step.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other question here?
That's the question I was asking, but
Yeah.
you will explain, right?
Yes. Yes. Okay. So, okay. So before we talk about it, these are the few things that you have to be careful about. So when you're talking about requirements, make sure your requirement is necessary. Okay. If the requirement is not necessary, don't even talk about. Necessary means something which is important and which will be used, right? It should be verifiable. Okay. If I tell you to do some work and I cannot verify whether you have done it or not, then what's the point of telling you to do it?
Yes.
If I tell you do the assignment and tomorrow I can ask you, show me the assignment. You have to show that means you have done it, you have not done it. But if there is no way, okay, then I cannot ask you. Then there's no point, because see, we are talking about something which is important, because everything that you do here is for business, right? So it involves cost, it involves time. Okay, everything is cost here. If it is not serving any purpose, then why should you do it, right? So verifiable means, is it something which is, you can test it, attainable, something can we achieve it. I tell you something which you cannot do it, let's say you can't complete it, then why even try doing it? We can't achieve it. Unambiguous. Okay, so the first line that we read last, right, that should be validated, is ambiguous.
Ambiguous.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't know what should be validated, who or how. Okay, so that is ambiguous. So your requirement should not be ambiguous, it should be unambiguous. Your requirement should be complete. We saw that A2LL example yesterday. Complete, consistent. Consistent means, at one place you are saying use pi value as 3, some other place you're saying pi value as 1.56, somewhere you're saying pi 3.2, 3.3. So this is called being not consistent. So whatever you are saying, you have to be consistent across every stage, every phase. Okay. Then you have traceable. Traceable means you should be able to trace back the origin of the requirement. Okay, who said it, when it was said, right? So let's say you identified a requirement, you built it, but now you have some questions. If you don't know who said it, why it is being built, you will not be able to answer questions, correct?
Yes.
It is important to be able to trace back who said it.
Yeah.
Okay. Then concise. It should be complete and also concise. Means it should, with least word possible, or least thing possible. You cannot write stories for everything. Right?
Yes.
It should be complete, but at the same time concise. Design free, you should not talk about the design. Let the design piece be done by the technical team. You focus on what, not how. Design is how. Standard construct, always use standard construct in terms of language, in terms of English language, in terms of general language, in terms of mathematics, in terms of software, something that everybody can understand. Okay, that's what we call as standard construct. Then unique ID, we talked about, right? Every requirement should have unique ID. It is important so that you can trace back.
Yes.
Okay? So if I say FR1, then you should be able to tell me why FR1 is important. FR1 is connected to UR1, user requirement 1. So FR1 is because of UR1, and UR1 is because of BR1, business requirement 1. So you'll be able to link from BR to UR to SR or FR or NFR, non-functional requirement, right? So it should be, it should have a unique ID. Okay, so I can tell you, refer FR1. I should not tell you, I should not see. We all have a name, okay, because we can call uniquely identify ourselves, isn't it?
Yes.
If we all never had names, then it would have been very difficult to refer someone. Same thing here. So if you have a unique ID, and if you have to talk about, you can say refer to FR1. Finish, or simple. Otherwise, you'll have to say that page number, so and so, this and that, right? Very difficult.
Yeah, identification would be easy.
Easy with ID, correct.
Yeah.
Then you have prioritized. Every requirement has to be prioritized, and whatever you put in the document, okay, something which is important. Okay, otherwise it should not be there. Okay, whatever is on the slide is important for you as a BA. If it is not important, don't put it. Simple. Okay, so these are some questions that we ask. We ask how questions. How will you use this feature? Is this feature a process? If so, what are the steps? What questions? Okay, so this is just a guideline. Okay, when you're talking about the requirements, so there are some of the how questions. How might we meet this need? How might we think about this feature a bit differently? How will we know this is complete or not? Where does the process start? Where would the user achieve or access or be able to use this feature? Where would the user be located physically when using this feature? Okay, where would the results be visible, right?
Yes.
When questions, when will this feature be used? When do you need to know about what, or when will the feature fail? When will we be ready to start? Who will use this feature? Who will deliver? Who will receive? Who will learn? Who do I ask if I have more questions about it? Okay, what questions? What is this? Why is this? What is the end result? What is the purpose of doing it? What happens next? Okay, what happens before? Right? See, what happens before is also important, and what happens next is also important. What happens before, because that will tell you when to trigger this. So we have a lot of things, right?
Yes.
When you feel hungry, you go for food. I mean, we don't keep on eating every day, whole day, right? So
yes,
eat food, you need to feel hungry, right? So that's where, like, if I have to withdraw money, okay, so before the ATM will give me money, the PIN number has to be verified. After that, the amount has to be entered. Then only I will get the cash.
Yes.
Right? So that's why before and after. Once you get the cash, what should happen to the system? System should end it, right? So what happens next is also important. And if you are not getting enough information, ask why. Okay. So if you are asking this question and they're answering you one word, one sentence, and you are not able to understand what that person is saying, you ask them why. Moment why is an open-ended question, right? If you ask why, they'll have to speak about few more than what they were talking about, right? So why is another great question to ask. Okay, it's a common mistake that we make. We start designing the solution, not good, right? Unjustified requirement, putting unjustified extra information, no, concise. Put sufficient detail. Okay, it should be complete. If you don't put enough detail, it's a problem. And protecting requirements. What is prioritized is important. What is not prioritized should not be there. Just because you did it, you have this ego that, it's my requirement, has to be there. No, that's not the case. If it is important, prioritize only, it should be there in the list. Okay. So these are the common mistakes that we make. Okay. It's about what, not how. So don't design. Okay. It should be concise, right? Okay. Don't put unjustified extra information, and okay, not putting something in detail that it's not complete, isn't it? And prioritize requirement should only be there. Okay, so now you say that, okay, these are not important, but let's say if you come across extra information. Now we are talking about it, okay, and let's say somehow we started discussing something other than BA, and that information you felt is important. So if that is that, so let's say you are making notes also. Let's say side by side you're making notes. So if we come across some information which is not relevant to BA, but some important information, you're not supposed to put it in the BA notes, isn't it? Because that's not relevant to BA. But you don't want to miss it also. So what you'll do is you will write behind the book or in different book or somewhere differently. So that's what it's saying, that if you come across something which should not be there, like the presentation, we say the presentation should not be discussed or should in the requirements, but you come across, you discussed, and it looks a great idea. So we call something like parking lot. So parking lot is not like a commitment. Okay, so whatever you put in parking lot is not a commitment. Okay, whatever you put in requirements document is commitment. So you put in a parking lot and you can share. I mean, if it is relevant, makes sense, then you bring it to the requirements document. If it doesn't, you drop it from there. So any extra information which you feel is important, but doesn't meet that needs, then you put it in different place called parking lot and evaluate it later, and then you accept it or reject it. Okay. So what do we understand here is that the difference between real business requirements and system requirement is not the level of detail. Okay. Business requirement is also complete in itself. User requirement is also complete in itself. Doesn't mean that, okay, the header is here, the body is there, the expression is there. No, they are not. See, they are different. They are connected. Yes, they are different. Okay. When you talk about business requirement, you talk about complete business requirements. So though they are talking about different levels, but those levels are not same thing. Okay, the levels are they are three different set of requirements. Okay, so difference between them is the qualitative difference. Okay, business requirements are what's, and system requirements that we talk about IT thing, right? That's how. Okay, so that's the difference. Okay, let's take an example here. Okay, so this is an example. Okay, you asked me, right? How do we know the requirements? Isn't it? So this is how we do it. Okay. So marketing requirement. Okay, so this is the problem that you're facing. So what is the problem? You're running your own restaurant and you're seeing that 5% of your sales revenue is lost because of wastage. Okay, so in a day, if you make $10,000, okay, $500 of worth of food got wasted, right? Which is a significant amount, right? So how do we avoid the loss? Okay, so that's the problem here. So you are getting 5% of food is
5% is loss. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the marketing question. Now, business question. So business question is that sole proprietor restaurant, they will be able to reduce the amount of food spoilage by 50%. Okay, so if you are losing 5%, and if you implement a certain solution, you'll see you cannot save all the 5%, but 50% of the revenue will be saved. So you need a system using which, okay, you will be able to make better purchase decision. which quantity, which product, when to buy in what quantity. Okay. So earlier, right now you're doing manually. Sometimes you are buying more, sometimes buying less. Okay, because of which there's a wastage. So if you use a software which will recommend what product to buy when and how much quantity, okay, your wastage will come down automatically by 50%. So we need business requirement talks about what exactly you need to develop. So if you are able to make this software, you will be able to reduce the wastage. That's the business requirement. Now from the user perspective, okay, from the user requirement or the product that they need, for product requirement you call it, or user requirement you call it, okay, because product will be used by the user. So we talk about two requirements. So one business requirement got converted into two requirements. One, system shall recommend ingredient purchase amounts and timing that would reduce spoilage by at least 50% against the baseline. Right? So this is what I just mentioned. Second point is the system should recommend, but also allow users to ignore. Okay, so let's say if you have more information, now system will tell you on a Wednesday, purchase very less product, not more product. But you see there's somebody called that they are celebrating a party, they are 20 people and they want to come and celebrate at your restaurant. That information system will not have. You have it. So system will recommend based on Wednesday that you get very few people, so it will say buy less quantity. But you know that you have an order for 20 people. So in that case, you will be able to ignore the system recommendation. Right? In that case, you should not go by the recommendation. Most of the time, yes, but sometimes you have to ignore it. That's why you have able to ignore the recommendation. Okay. Now I wanted to read this case study. Okay. Then we'll talk about it.
The next revolutionary step in the evolution of coffee house culture is the way you get your coffee. Re-Evolution Coffee Shops chain MD Dirk Dash explains, if you'd rather not queue up for your coffee at the counter at Re-Evolution coffee houses up and down the UK, you will be able to just sit yourself down, relax, and our service staff will be at your side ready to take your order, sending it instantly to the Re-Evolution coffee wizards who will work their magic and notify the staff to deliver it to you. Effortlessly, our service and staff will be using the latest and best wireless technology to provide the ultimate coffee house customer experience. So relax and join the love revolution, but only in Re-Evolution coffee houses.
Yes.
Like, okay.
Yes, tell me what you're saying.
Coffee shops, we used to stand in a queue to get the coffee. Like here, the coffee shop MD is explaining, like he's saying that in their coffee chain, so you can sit in your place when you drink or like wherever you drink coffee, our staff will take care of you, like take care of your order, like taking orders and serving the coffee after getting order. He is explaining that, but only in Re-Evolution coffee houses, he mentioned.
Yeah, so what it says is this guy, okay, Dog Dash wants to start a coffee shop. Okay. Now this coffee shop will be like any other coffee shop, but the advantage here, what he's saying is, see, generally, when we go to coffee shop, we either go with time where we don't mind coffee coming late, we just want to go relax, right? Spend some time. So you'll go sit on chair, sofa, wait for coffee, take coffee slowly, come back, chit chat with your friend and come back. Yes. Second way is that you need coffee. Okay, you don't have time. Maybe you're going somewhere, you need to go to office, you need to go back to work. You don't have time. You go and you purchase your coffee. Okay, and then you go quickly, right? So, So there are, restaurants or there are coffee shops where, you go with relaxed mind, and there are some coffee shops where, you're in hurry, you want to get and you want to go. So, generally you stand in queue to get it.
Yes.
What DoorDash is saying that he wants to have something in between. It means you go, you sit on the sofa, you get your coffee, but the coffee time that you get coffee will be almost similar to if you stood in the queue. Now, whether you want to stay or you go, it's up to you. But DoorDash wants to serve coffee at a faster rate, even if you're sitting, okay, on sofa.
Okay.
Okay. So, and how is that possible? It is possible using IT. Okay, hardware or software. Okay, maybe you're trying to put all the Wi-Fi around, have tablets. The customer should come and quickly order things like that. Okay.
Yes.
So, so how now you come up with your plan. What kind of software, okay, you will recommend to DoorDash? Assume that you can build any kind of software so that the coffee is prepared at a faster pace, faster rate. Okay. This is another assignment. Since it's a weekend, I wanted to do that. Okay. So this is the last assignment for the day. So how many assignments did I give today? One, I gave you to write the unit for each of those quality of service thing. Correct?
Yeah.
And then this is the second one, isn't it?
Yes.
Is there any other assignment?
Can you repeat the what I should do, what I should describe or explain with this case? Which?
Yes, yes. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. So see, the first thing is that you should be able to find out the different ways you can reduce the cost. Okay, so using AHP, okay, you break the coffee shop experience into multiple parts. First part is customer coming and taking a chair, sitting on the chair. Second part is customer ordering their favorite coffee. Third part is order being sent to the kitchen. Fourth part is time to prepare the coffee. Fifth part is time to serve. Sixth part is making the payment. Right? So these are the 6 steps. First step, coming and sitting, of course you can't do anything. So ordering, sending to the kitchen, coffee preparation, serving, and payment. These are the 5 main steps where you can actually reduce the time. Correct? So how do you reduce the time? So first thing is ordering. You can have a mobile app, right? Moment customer can put the coffee in the mobile cart, mobile app cart, and the moment they reach store, they can say place from the mobile phone itself. So the moment they come, or they are even near to the coffee shop, okay, so they will be like even outside you can place the order.
Yes.
So by the time you come and take your chair, your coffee is ready.
Will be ready.
Right? So that's an example of another example. Correct?
Okay.
Now, okay, or you can have tablets also, okay, at the center, so that those who doesn't have phone or they don't have the app, they can come and they can order even without the help of a waiter. Right?
Yes.
Now, waiter might take time to come to you. So if you're relaxed, you can wait for the waiter to come. Otherwise, you come, you take a tablet, you order your favorite coffee. That's how you will be able to save time in, coffee shop, ordering coffee to the shop. Third part is sending. So whether it's waiter or this, as a customer, you're ordering through app, so that immediately it is sent to the kitchen. Right?
Yes.
And parallelly, you can make the payment for the coffee. So you don't have to wait
until the coffee prepare.
Correct. So to save time, you can immediately make a payment parallelly, so that payment is also done. Now, When it reaches to the coffee kitchen, you know, and generally the tendency is to prepare coffee in the order you got the order, right? First coffee, then second, then third, and fourth, so on. So what this says is, okay, or what you can do differently is, the system should be able to club similar coffees together. So let's say if order number 1 and 10 are same coffee, right? And you are making order number 1, you make 2 cups, okay? So that way what happens is, you know, you see, making 1 coffee or 2 cups of coffee doesn't take much more time, right? Probably a few seconds extra. So that way what happens is, you know, let's say if coffee takes 5 minutes to prepare, so 2 times if you have to done it, you'll be taking 10 minutes to prepare. But if you club them together, probably within 6 minutes it will be ready, right? So you take 1 and 10 together and you can prepare. Even if 5 is also similar, like the half process is same, other half is different, right? So then half you put it together and then other half you do it differently.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
So that way you will be able to serve the customer faster. Right. So that's another thing. Okay. That's another software that you need to build, where based on the coffee, it knows which coffee to club. And so that as a, you know, customers, they will be able to get service faster. Finally, service, you know, sending is, there's nothing you can cut down, right? Somebody has to go and serve, or the message will come on their ready that, you know, come and pick it at counter number 6. So you can go and pick it.
Yes.
Right. So yes, it's up to you.
Okay.
Right. So think in those lines and try to create your requirement. So what features do you need? So I just described you the user requirement. You have to explain in detail functional and non-functional. Feature to place order app. Okay. So feature to place order, feature to cancel orders, feature to make payment of payment, feature to accept, you know, feature to not accept, sorry, feature to kind of accept only. Okay. Feature to accept the coffee to prepare in the coffee shop example, not the app. App is done probably, right? In the other software, the kitchen software, feature to accept the order and start preparing.
Yes.
Right? So those, you know, on those lines, you have to think and work with that. And Monday when we meet, we can always present it and we can talk about it.
Okay.
Then we're talking about BA techniques. Okay, 2 more techniques we'll do and we will end the discussion here. So as a BA, you have to use various techniques to do various kind of role. So now you understand little more detail what BA is supposed to work, right? How they will do it, what techniques they need to do. That's what we are going to do. Once we are done with these techniques, then we go to the process, step-by-step process.
Okay.
First one is called benchmarking technique. Benchmarking technique is used to understand what feature your software should have. So in benchmarking is one single slide where you list your company and your competitors. So if you see here, okay, on first column, you have the companies like 8th Bridge, North Social. Let's say you are 8th Social. So you have put 8th Social on the first column. Okay, first row, first column. Okay, then you are putting other companies, competitors, okay, against which you want to compare. Okay. So you start putting up down there. Okay. Then you talk about the features which are already there. Okay, you have features which are already there. So pricing model, on Facebook, off Facebook, small business, large business, Facebook storefront, apps, analytics, and to mark which company has which product. So these features that we are there, Those are, let's say, those are the, the features which are in latest trend. Okay, people are looking for these features, and you put a tick mark if you have it. If you don't have it, leave it blank. So it means that 8th Breeze has a pricing model which is more like a revenue share model, partnership model, and 8th Breeze is on Facebook, but they are not available off Facebook. They are not good for small business. They are good for large business. Facebook front, they have storefront, right? They have a Facebook storefront. And the apps, they don't have it. Analytics, they have it. Okay, that's about you. Now you compare yourself with North Social and Shopping. Now, if you compare with other companies, which feature do you think the 8th Bridge should adopt immediately or should start working to develop that?
App.
Yeah, correct. So you have off Facebook, small business, and apps. Apps, we have 4 other companies, they have it. Small business, 5 other companies have it, right? So maybe, yeah, maybe you have to think about small business, or otherwise you develop apps, right? So see, the advantage is that looking at just one slide, you're able to make a lot more decisions.
Yes.
Right? So you don't need any of those. It's a visual thing. Okay, everything is in front of you. You can easily make a decision. Okay, let's focus on this because other companies have it. We don't have it. Okay. But the effort to create this takes a lot of time, right? Because you have to get all this information, and the information has to be correct also. So though it is a one single slide, but information that you are going to get will take a lot of time and effort. Right? You need to know about social, not your each of your competitors, isn't it? And know it and know it correctly, know it very well. Correct? So yes, it is time consuming, and the negative side of it is not negative, but something which why it is not preferred so much is that benchmarking will always help you to do the catch-up game. Oh, competition has already done it. I don't have it. I need to do it. But it will not tell you what you need to do so that you can lead the industry. You can be a game changer. That it's not going to tell you that.
Okay. Yes.
Right? Because when you look at this, your competition has already, they have that feature. You're just only trying to copy, or you're trying to understand what they have, and you're building it, isn't it? Yes. So that way you're doing the catch-up game, but you are not leading the industry.
Yes.
But this is important when you're doing the catch-up. When you're slipping back, right? You need to know where you're slipping, why you are slipping, right? So it is an important tool, important technique. The next technique is called brainstorming. So brainstorming is used to lead the industry. Generally, to find the solution to the problem for which you don't easily get solution.
Yes.
Okay, you don't easily get solution. So for example, let's say you want to know how to increase revenue of your company, how to sell more for a company. That you won't get it in market or in Google or things like that, right? Because that's very specific to your business. Okay, yes. Benchmarking will also not tell you, right? So you want to address questions just like this, which does not have a specific solution. So the brainstorming talks about 3 sessions: preparation, conducting the session, and evaluation. What it says is prepare for the session. So if you're talking about, say, revenue improvement, who are the people who can help you to answer that question? Probably everyone who are in sales department, isn't it? So yes. You invite everyone who can give you have to find out a list of people, yes, and set up a one single meeting. See that we are doing a brainstorming on so-and-so topic, you are invited. Okay, you give the date, time, venue. So everything is pre-planned. They know the topic so that when they enter, they know what exactly they have to focus on. Yes. So that's called preparation. So you make the list of people, you fix the date, time. Finally, the time arrives and everybody is in the room, and you say the same question, and you ask people to speak. So conducting session is like asking people to speak, and you as a BA will start making notes. Okay.
Yeah.
The thing to keep in mind is that while conducting the brainstorming, you have to encourage everyone to talk. You have to encourage everyone to, doesn't matter whether it's a VP or fresher, come in the company for 15, 20 years, or they joined 10 days back, 2 days back, doesn't really matter. Everybody is treated equally in the conducting the session. Okay, and even if somebody is giving you the baddest of the bad idea, worst idea, still you will hear and make a note. Okay, conducting session is not about evaluation. Do not think about evaluation. Okay, and you still have to encourage everyone. Okay, even if they're talking nonsense, you have to encourage, because you don't know, while talking nonsense 5 times, 6 times the idea can be a great idea.
Yes.
But if you start saying, oh, your idea is bad, no, not good, then that person will lose the enthusiasm to speak, and that person will not speak. So if somebody is also trying to bully or saying that no, it's not good, remind them that this is not an idea evaluation session. This is to get the idea. Okay, we are not there to evaluate the ideas. Okay, we are going to get, even if it is was something which doesn't make sense, cannot be implemented, do capture it.
Yes.
Okay, and everybody is encouraged, nobody is discouraged. Okay, capture everything, and then after 24 to 48 hours, idea is captured, not the name of the individual. Okay, because you don't want to be biased with the name. Then you go back and you start evaluating after 48 hours. You can call the leadership people, important people, and start evaluating each idea. Okay, and then you can reject the ideas which you think is not relevant. So a problem for which you had no solution, now you have hundreds of solutions. Of course, not all of them are good, but still you have got 100, and you
will find out the good one.
Yes, 1, 2, 3. I mean, top good, right? You can have 3, and you can plan 3 also, right?
Yes.
So so this is always good for coming out with innovative solution. Okay. Yeah. Benchmarking will not talk about innovation, but it is still important. I'll tell you the weakness. Okay, benchmarking will tell you the weakness. Okay, where you are lagging. But brainstorming will tell you, will give you innovative solution for you.
Yes.
Third technique that BA uses is called focus group. Focus group is it's like creating a focus group. Okay, so let's say you would develop a solution for hospitals. Okay, so you can create focus group discussions for receptionists, for nurses, for doctors, because these people use different features, isn't it? Nurse will use different set of features. Nurses will use different set of features. Doctors will use different set of features. So you create different focus group, and you ask them, you invite them for a roundtable discussion or focus group discussion, we call it. Okay, you invite them. So it's a planned discussion. Okay, and you will have a group. Okay, now generally says that 6 to 8 to 9 people is good in a group. More than 8 or 9 is too much. More less than 6 will be too less, right? You also want people to talk about your solution. So these are the people who probably are, you have partnership with them, or there has to be some reason why they would come. Now, if you ask me to come for a session, why would I come? So at least you give me some money. You give me some discount. Let's say if you attend the focus group discussion, you will get 20% discount on the next product, right? Or something you have to put it so that your readers or your focus group persons will come and they will share their idea. So they will come. You tell them that what kind of features do you want to see in our next product, and let them speak. They will say something. Somebody says, no, that is not what we want, because those are experts, right? And you will not mix the different group, because nurses use different kind of products. So you will have focus group discussion only with nurses. You will have focus group discussion only with receptionists, only with all the doctors, because they are people who are using different types of, right? If you mix them, then they will not be able to discuss, right? So you have to put them separately because they can discuss about the usage of the solution. Okay, so you give, and as a BA, you actually record it. Okay, so when you are in roundtable conference, right, for 1 hour, right, maybe 50 minutes or 40 minutes is general discussion. But even if you get 20 minutes of 10 minutes of good discussion, which can help you to decide what you need to do in future, is very helpful, because these are people who are going to use your product, right? So they are not going to talk about anything or something. They will talk only which is relevant.
Yeah.
Okay. So approximately 7 to 10 people, they need to have common characteristics, okay, related to the topic, right? That's why I said doctors will need to know doctors, right? You can have 3, 4, 5 focus group discussions, right? 10 focus group discussions. Okay. What it also says is always have an odd number of focus group discussions. Okay. Let's say in one group, everybody's talking bad about your product. Okay. If you go by one, then you'll feel that, oh, your product is bad. The second group, everybody's talking good about your product. So you'll feel, oh, you'll get in essence, this feeling that, oh, your product is great. So what it says is always have 3 groups. Now, okay, in this case, whatever third group says probably will be true, right? So always try to have mix of people. If you know somebody hates your product, and somebody will put them together so that they will be able to contradict each other's point. You want them to talk and discuss and debate, not give them a lecture, right? You don't invite them to give a lecture. You want them to discuss, and if I say this feature is important, can you do that? If others are opposing, so you know that, oh, others don't have that, they don't want that feature. If everybody says yes, 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 we need that feature, you know that you need to develop that feature, isn't it? So that's called focus group discussions, always conducted by a BA, which is trained interviewer. Okay, right? You'll see the TV debates and this kind of debates, right? You have the host of the show as a interviewer and others, right? 7 to 10 people around and talking about specific topic. Okay, so it gives you qualitative data. It doesn't tell you quantitative data. Like unlike first case, benchmarking, where you will get specific data. Here, you will get a qualitative data. You have to understand the context, right? You have to understand the feelings, perceptions, manner of thinking, manner of talking. They might say something else, mean something else, sarcastic, right? All those things you have to look, understand, and then come up with your
own idea.
Yes, from the discussion that you just had.
Yes.
Okay, so this is also important thing, and people are invited for some incentive you have to give them. Okay, so we'll talk about root cause analysis on Monday. Okay, so for others also have covered till here. So from Monday we can talk about next topic. So Monday we can talk about, so they also have assignments. Okay, so Monday we can focus only on assignment. If you guys are ready, we can talk about assignments on Monday.
Okay.
Okay, so great. Any questions before we wrap up?
No.
Awesome, which is good. So yes, let's see you on Monday. Have a good weekend, and yeah, prepare from those notes. And just read, understand. If you have any question, we'll address it on Monday. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Take care. Bye.
Bye.